payroll warrant, I'll just read it if that's all right. P12-15, $226,972.13.
Move to approve.
Second that?
Second.
Okay. Those in favor?
What was the number you read? 226.
226. In favor, Jackie?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, that's coming out of bill warrant, W12-16 in the amount of $140,498.31.
Move to approve.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay, also approved. PCFs and PRFs.
Finance Committee are still meeting, so they
No,
may...
they-
Oh, they're not?
That's why she came in. I
Oh.
think they went. I don't think they did
I'll
anything.
set that. Can I shut it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, the other thing, I'm sorry, I should have backed up to let you know, was David Kielsen, who was scheduled for 6:40. You don't know about this, but I've been talking with him yesterday and today several times during the day. He's been working about day and night and weekends on this, and was stuck on one point, I believe, in the closing for the fiscal year 2010. So we're not going to have, as far as we know, that those fiscal year closes tonight, the closing of the fiscal year books. With that said, we would need to schedule a meeting for next week for that, which would be a joint meeting with finance and ourselves to review those. So we could either wait to see if he gets it done, but I just talked to him before the meeting here. He wasn't too optimistic about it. So do you want to go ahead and schedule a meeting? But I guess we would need to move to do that.
Move to schedule a meeting on Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Second.
Okay, in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And that would be joint with finance. Okay, so now we're down then to PCFs, no. One-day license, nothing. Town owner agreements, nothing. Housing needs, nothing. Interim town administrators report.
I have a couple items. I have the COA state formula grant that this is signed every year. This is, I guess the formula is based on the number of elders in town. It should be in the SIG folder.
I'm trying to see if I can find it. What's the heading of it?
Commonwealth of Mass Standard Contract Form.
Oh, yeah, okay, past that. Got it.
It needs to be signed in blue.
In blue?
Oh, yeah, that's why you put the blue pen here? Oh, how wise.
What do you think of everything?
What is this for, Reggie?
That is the state formula grant. What it is the state gives, I think it's $7,550. It's based on the number of elders in the town of Southampton.
So this is like a grant for Council on Aging?
Yes.
Move to sign the grant?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Just put it out there,
It looks like it just needs one signature.
okay. In blue.
It looks like it's on the left there, but read it
See
carefully.
that? Thank, and then print name underneath. So.
The next item is we received the Boulangers contract for the installation of the sinks and all the appliances. Again, we did not have to go out to bid or see quotes because Pat reinstated their permit, their original permit from the project.
But I understand you reinstated their contract, but is this in excess of what the original contract was?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because him reinstating the permit is a separate issue from a contract price. Here's what I would suggest we do. I would move we approve the Leander's contract authorizing Reggie to make, because of the amount, you'd only have to make 2 telephone calls to verify and as long as Belanders comes in as the low, accept the contract. If they don't, we'll have to
Okay.
revise it. I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
That's a good point. Opposed? Okay. So, right, because under the option, or not the option, the alternate?
We had a bid on this at one time, but I don't think it was 750, that's my problem.
No.
Because they were
I thought
originally,
your original question is, and I think this is where Jess is going, was this part of the alternate? No, it was not. The kitchen was not part of the alternate, but the rough plumbing was.
Yes, correct. The rough plumbing was part of the alternate that they selected,
Right.
and so that's why I'm not sure if this was...
but did we have a bid for installation of, have we had a bid in the past for installation?
No.
So we need to have,
But the amount, the anticipated amount is such that she just has to call, I think,
Right,
three.
because it's under.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
So assuming that they're low.
Right, yeah.
okay,
But I'm saying, I think we need the 3 bids in order to, the only snag we hit is if you get one for 745,
right, okay.
then we got a problem.
Mhm.
But I think
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
for clarity's sake, so that's a conditional one, I suppose you should sign it just in case. Condition on the fact that you find that the price is correct.
Okay. And on that note, Blanchard and Daly, Pete had hooked up the oven in the senior center on Friday. So that's all set.
So they can bake muffins, we don't have muffins here tonight.
I'll sign here, is that where I should sign?
Look at it.
No. As the contract...
I would sign it the next line down.
That's right, the acceptor.
Yeah.
Right.
They should have signed on that line.
Right. So I'll just cross that and issue
I'm gonna put it all in the folder.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so it's conditional acceptance. Okay, so that brings us, then, anything else, Reggie?
On Thursday afternoon, Council on Aging, I think you guys has seen the email regarding the window where they could not close it, so we put the plastic around it. Pella came in on Friday and fixed the window, but now they have to replace the track.
Oh,
It's a never-ending battle.
There is a meeting scheduled this Thursday. I don't know exactly what time yet. It's after lunch with Pella to look at all the windows and the main door. Yes,
That's supposed to be after, right, because they couldn't be there until the afternoon.
right. And the other items, Jennifer had provided us with what their expectations are for the custodial. And I am still gathering job descriptions from other communities. And the last item is Jennifer provided the Council on Aging with the draft building use policy that I had provided the board. And once she receives their input, we will sit down together and draft a policy where we could utilize all rooms in the town hall.
With respect to a policy, because we have some issues around the doors and fire exits and fire entrance.
Yes.
All of those things. And also, not confidential property, but doors that have to be kept locked versus opened. So we'll
Right.
need to go through all that.
Yep.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
Okay, that's a lot. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay.
One thing, my email is down. We have no idea what happened or why, so IBS, our IT company, is looking at it.
Is it just yours or everybody's? Just yours? Sabotage.
Yeah.
Maybe you've been hacked.
Mine is the only one that's on the server.
Oh.
On the
So
server.
it's the
Right.
only one being backed up on the server. I don't know if it's coincidental. I don't really know.
Well, I got stuff here from Koppelman and Page on the charter. Is that, were we doing that tonight?
Yes.
Okay, so it's under discussion items.
Oh, all right.
A couple of things prior to that, but we can skip to that if you want.
No, I just didn't make sure, well, we had the signature line out, item out.
Okay, well, thank you, Reggie. Other business and announcements, upcoming events and meetings. Of course, November 1st is the grand opening from 6 to 8 p.m., and we voted an entertainment or refreshments budget in our last meeting. And do we need people to volunteer to pick things up? Or
Doug actually volunteered, so if
Okay.
anyone else would like to.
I'll work with Doug on that, sure, we can go.
Okay.
I'll help.
Okay,
All right, fine.
thank you.
That's right, you got a lot of people eat cake last time.
You bring the cheese and crackers.
That's right. Okay, select board meetings then, the next one is November 1st, of course, which will be here during the grand opening, and obviously the other dates as well. Then letters of interest for Greenway, again, we've received 6 letters of interest, which are the last 3.5 pages of your packet. And the committee was originally designed to have 7 members, and again, we have 6, and I believe what we need to do here is review these, and I will recuse myself in the case of my younger brother Doric does his letter of interest. I say younger. Anyway,
You can do it.
So what we have is letters from Robert Barkham,
correct?
Michael Bueller, if I say that right, I don't think.
Bueller is right, uh-huh,
Doric,
yeah.
Courtney Haff, Karen Adamski, and Gary Thomas. Gary Thomas.
Correct.
Who was on the committee the last time? Do you remember names? Besides
Barkham
Barkham.
was there,
Bueller was there.
Jennifer Neary, Marla,
that was a feasibility.
When did we close these? Do we close applications?
18th today.
Oh, okay. How are we going to do this? With the exception of Doric Dodds, I move to appoint members, these stated people, to the Greenway Committee.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to appoint 5 of the 6, with the exception would be Doric Dodds. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's opposed?
We'll have to remember to come back to Doric at some point in time.
Do that, so.
You have to do that on the board, right? Does you have- Yeah.
Okay, I will say too that I think we have some folks here who bring a lot of experience in urban design, in legal issues, in town, in some, I think it's a pretty impressive group of people who signed up for this.
Got a PhD on it.
Yep.
We should be able to get a grant out of this group, do you think?
While we're on the subject, perhaps we should send a letter from the board to our elected representatives, COCOT, and indicating that we are moving from the feasibility to the planning and development phase.
Excellent idea, because both of them are particularly interested in this. That's a great idea.
Let's get them on notice that we still have our interest in the money. The almighty dollar.
Does Congressman Oliver have anything to do with that?
Technically, no, but I don't think it would be a problem if we included him on the mailing list.
Good point.
And Senator Knappich, right?
State Senator Knappich, right. Senator Kerry, I don't know if he's interested in this or not.
Well, you know what? We should do Kerry and Brown.
And Brown, yeah. Yep.
Both of them are big bikers.
So you have all of the
I do.
various folks that represent us.
Mhm.
That's a great idea. Okay.
And you know what? Where that money comes out of where? Which secretariat does that come out of?
Greenway on the federal level?
No, on the local, on the state level. What cabinet position? Is that economic development, or is that?
I honestly don't know. COCOT would certainly know.
We should put a letter to the secretariat.
So we need to get in touch with NAPIC's office or COCOT's office and find out what cabinet level it comes from, it meaning the grants.
Transportation, I bet.
That would make sense.
It comes under the transportation. I bet you Ed knows who. It comes out of the same place as the highway money.
Okay, next item then. Thanks, Mike. That's really good thoughts. Review letter of interest for library trustee.
I did not include that letter in your packet.
See it, right?
Is the board interested in having, I know you had said it at your last meeting, you would like to have a joint meeting with the library trustees?
Well, we would have to elect somebody to that position anyway. I would assume, usually we have to have a joint meeting.
Because that's an elected position
Correct.
to begin with, so we make an emergency interim appointment.
Yeah.
And there's been a further wrinkle, as you may have seen, that the departing director had to depart sooner than anticipated because the job that he's taking, and where the guy who had it got sick or is sick. So he actually started yesterday, didn't you, the new one? Anyway,
He's not here.
not here, so what matters to us is that one of the things we were going to do was sort of an exit interview in conjunction with the library.
But they're going to be short-staffed over there because he fills in a lot of hours on the desk.
Right.
So what they need to do is they need to make a temporary hire, emergency hire, if they need to make an emergency hire to fill any hours.
Right. They had Berkeley, I'm going to chop her name, who
Chestnut.
covered the last time prior to hiring Jeff Aubuchon.
So have they just put her in the position, or they should go?
I don't know. I know they did submit their paperwork for the personal requisition form to post the posting. I don't know.
Maybe you should make them aware of what they need to go through in order to make an emergency
Okay.
appointment to that, if they're going to.
Okay.
You know, but send them a little memo that says, you know, if you intend to make an emergency appointment to cover hours or something,
Do it together,
the
joint.
procedure that they need to go through for the emergency person, and then if they're going to hire somebody, then we have to go. But they can make an emergency appointment for 12 weeks rather than either he's closing the library for certain hours. They can make an emergency appointment to fill the position, any hours, for up to 12 weeks, and then buy them time so they don't have to rush through a search. But I'd make a motion that Reggie send them over, or have Reggie, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
talk to them and tell them what they need to do in order to fill that position, not just to hire somebody like they ought, not necessarily them, but other boards and committees do, and then we find out later.
Did you withdraw from the actual motion, formal motion?
I'll make that a motion that Reggie contact them.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Excuse me.
So I would like to, if that's with your approval, I'd like to schedule that joint meeting with the trustees. Do you think that the 1st is a good night, being at your grand opening night? Did you want to make it a light agenda, heavy agenda?
Well, if the grand opening closes at 8, excuse me, we've been going till 8:30 or 9:30,
Okay.
latest.
And I think it wouldn't hurt to have the libraries in.
Yeah. They're going to probably be here, hopefully anyway, for the grand opening.
Okay, yeah.
I don't need, but it's up to you.
I think it's fine.
Excuse me. I think I'm reacting to the chairs a little bit.
I smell it. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's damp.
No.
You don't smell that?
No.
Oh, he doesn't have an allergy to.
You're lucky to get shots every 2 weeks, Michael, 1 each arm.
I smell nothing. It smells like fresh air in here.
All right.
That's because you're interested
How's it
You weren't
smell
supposed to
back
catch that.
As you see me exit, you'll know I've had enough.
there? Oh, really? You can, is it strong?
A little bit, I can hear it, feel it in my throat. Okay, Charter Communications, Reggie, you and I both have spoken with Tom Cohan, but you most recently,
Yes.
excuse me, and this was in response to our last meeting, in which it was brought up that moving some equipment over from the old town hall to this building wasn't necessarily specifically covered, so the task was to find out if it is indeed covered.
It is. Yeah, Tom clarified it, and he explained what the equipment looks like, and we do have that equipment over at the old town hall.
Oh, good. So now we know what we're looking for.
Yes, yes.
We're ahead of the game.
So now I'll move to sign the charter
All
contract.
right.
I'll second.
Okay, and the motion has been made and seconded to sign the charter contract. And those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, it's almost time to negotiate a new one.
Oh, my goodness.
And they say government moves slow. I have the contract.
There are
Years
two.
Get the fence around the cemetery, but anyway,
We had a celebration tonight on this one.
absolutely. Mr. Cohan, who actually looked at our meeting, right? the last
Yes, he
time.
did, right away.
You're on, you have your contract. Okay,
Last page.
so timber cutting plans, nothing to review. New town hall updates with respect to custodial. Anything there, Reggie?
No, nothing at this time.
Accepted this day, subject to, okay, so they accept ours, right? Okay. So we approve this 18th day of October?
Yes.
This is a momentous event, Jackie.
Yeah, I know,
Here you go.
I'm so thrilled this is happening.
You missed Mike.
Were you guys meeting? Oh, sorry. I was here.
Yeah, we needed him here for a quorum. Okay, so now then we're back to building use policy is pending, security punch list, senior center. So now we're back up to the front, which is joint meeting with personnel policies and procedures.
Goes with it.
Joe called, not feeling good, he went home.
Oh,
Okay, so, he was at early, but couldn't
Thank you, Jess.
I'm not sure if we asked for this or you asked for it, we both asked at the same time, but we wanted to talk about some of these issues that have been coming from the policy procedures.
Okay.
And I want to know if you have the same issues. And some of the issues that have been coming from us is, you know, time clocks, complaints about people not being here on a regular schedule, and other people being here on a regular schedule. And the, I won't call it informal process of various timesheets. Reggie has dealt with it, and Robin deals with it because she runs that payroll department. And some of our discussion is to try to get these more uniformed and bring them into what is really required under the statutes. And some of the things that I don't think are done by every department is signatures on payroll sheets and submitting them as part of our payroll report. We need to discuss this and get some direction from the board if they're on the same page we are, and we need to make it more uniform. And this discussion is not a one-sided discussion. I'm wondering what your comments are, and your administrative comments, and what other comments you might have heard from other departments. So these are three things that are being a problem.
One is signatures on payroll.
No, one is the having more of a uniform payroll.
Uniform time sheet.
Time sheet. I don't think the payroll records are.
We should
an
have,
issue.
we should have a cover sheet with all the hours worked attached. So if there's a problem, I can refer to it.
Okay, this sort of a question I'm not sure of the answer is that under which group does this responsibility fall? Is it PQB or is it us? Because Diana was working on a reformatting of the PPPB. Remember that?
Well, that was her own version of reformatting. It wasn't coordinated with us.
Exactly, so I'm trying to avoid that and saying, how should we coordinate with you?
Yeah, and part of it is we all agreed there was issues. And the issues were, and let me back a bit. There were an issue at certain points, and they got buried because other workflows developed and stopped.
Right.
And I think that's what happened.
Mhm.
We need to address this and come into compliance. Number one, because we had this issue with the DOR did an audit several years ago, and this was highlighted. And we need to have more of a uniform payroll procedures. And Mike has been on our committee. We've talked about this several times over the last 4 or 5 years as a selectman. And I think that what happens is we get started and we find out some departments are doing it and other departments are not doing it. And one department might do accountability probably the right way, and another one is just doing whatever they want, and things are being submitted, and they're not in any uniform manner. Am I making myself clear?
Very. Mhm.
It
In
just,
other words, if somebody works, comes in at 7 to 5, all right, his hours are there 7 to 5, when he's working. if somebody's coming in at 10 to 3, we just don't want to see 5 hours submitted for the week of, all right? And we have to guess when he works. We need to have, for liability purposes, if Joe Blow is working on Monday, he's working 5 hours, we need to know, yeah, he's working in the morning, because if he does something in the afternoon that he's off our clock, and it's a liability to the town, we need to know where people are working, where they're not working, and if they're on our payroll or not on our payroll, for long-term protection. But our whole way of doing things needs to be more unified and more submitted in the same manner with the same information that is required from the department for all departments.
I think that's
We
a
need to start working on that.
simple management tech responsibility, that it should be uniform. I mean, everybody going off and doing their own thing is,
I mean, I'm not saying everybody is, I'm just saying.
Some people are.
Problem with some of us.
and we should impose it on everybody, across the board. There should be as many uniform procedures as possible so that everybody
And understand.
knows what's expected.
Right.
So I don't know, I would say that I would move as a member of the PQB and/or select board that both boards endorse a policy of uniform timesheets. And we had looked at whose was the best one. I don't remember whose.
Mine.
But, you know, Reggie had a bunch from several different avenues, even the police chief has a good one. Mine, I thought was a good one, but mine lacks the signature, which is, we should be having a signature.
Does the chiefs have the signature?
The required signatures and time cards, yeah.
So why don't we adopt, unless Robin has a better one?
What I'd like to do is sit down with Ed and go over it, and his has to be different. He has so many different, what we call ed centers, where they do different jobs. So we pay them in different, whether it's water, transfer, highway, whatever, different hours.
But we could make
We
something
have
that
to-
works.
Right, so I propose that we get together and we, you know.
Why don't we delegate that to you and Robin to come up with a,
I'm fine with that, but what we might ask is the ability to show the departments what we're going to do, rather than shove it down.
why don't, yeah, and I was just going to say, why don't we at this point in time send out a memo to the departments that we're anticipating unifying the time
To be in compliance.
to be in compliance, and that in the near future, they're going to receive an opportunity to comment on it, so that it,
And we'd just like to point out here too, under section 3.1 under these bylaws and things, because these would have to be changed at town meeting. However, it says, all employees shall comply with and assist in furnishing records, reports, and information as may be requested by the Personnel Policies and Procedures Board. Also, it says above here, PQB shall be responsible for establishing and maintaining personnel records as may be required by law and as necessary for effective personnel management. So it seemed to me that what you're trying to do falls well within the scope of the bylaws, which would require a town meeting to change. So
yeah, but you're saying we don't need to
we
change.
don't need to.
Yeah, right, it's just,
I wanted to make sure that's what.
we have the authority, what we're trying to do
We
is,
need your support. to get
Right,
more
absolutely,
things.
yeah.
We just want to be all on the same page, you know what we're doing, and you know the problems that are facing various departments, namely Robin and stuff being reported properly.
Mhm.
And long-term, our own liability and our own coverage. Because the town is responsible for our employees' acts in the field.
Yes,
And
that's
if
right.
they're working for us, we need to know when they're working for us. And if they're not working for us, we're not responsible for them.
and Ed brings up a good point of an accident down the road, and somebody says they were here 3 to 5, and the accident was at 9 in the morning, and how do we know?
And may I ask, this also includes salary, correct?
Yeah, I mean, they're not as stringent, I mean, because they're expected to do the job over, you know, like, a whole day. I mean, they're responsible to be there when an issue is taken, unless it's spelled out that they have set hours, but I do think that, you know, it's just good practice to, I don't think the department head or salary employees should be punching a time clock, but there should be notes to say when you're on the job. You know.
And for those departments that have elected department heads, do you have any who have reports that?
They're different, they're not under the PPP.
Correct.
They're
But
not-
the employee themselves.
The employees under them are.
Yeah, so I meant.
All employees in this, the town records are under the PPP, with the exception of the unions.
Right.
And there's several unions choose to be under the PPP as far as, I think, discipline and sometimes the grievance procedures.
So we have 2 elected people in the back here, department heads. Would you care to comment on?
I follow their, the treasurer collector gave me a timesheet for Ruth. And I follow that, and she fills it out every 2 weeks. And I have to sign off on it. And then I also put all my vacation time on the bottom of hers, so the treasurer collector's office will know how much vacation I'm taking also. Then I turn it over.
Okay.
Very easy, it's no big, you know.
I think it's very important that our employees, we need to know what they're working for. I don't know what else to tell you. I think
That's great.
another thing, there has been talk about time clocks back and forth, but our committee has talked about it, and my comment to them is there's, I don't know, 11 or 12 people involved with a time clock that are not union, and I do think that you can't change your working conditions in unions just haphazardly. You need to introduce it as part of the negotiation. So I don't know if it's proper time to start talking about a time clock yet, unless we're willing to define it to non-union personnel or everybody. You know, because union personnel right now, and I'm not speaking that I know all their agreements and stuff like that, but to me, it seems like it would be a change in working conditions, and that would have to be negotiated.
Yeah. Yeah, it would definitely,
Interesting point, because
it would definitely probably, oh, I'm not, like Ed, I'm 90% sure that it would be a change in working conditions to have that.
I mean, we have managerial rights under all the contracts, and I think maybe it might fall into that, but just best faith, you know, bargaining makes sense. They're all coming up this year,
Right,
right?
that's right.
Let's talk about it then. That's
Yeah.
the suggestion.
It should be
And
at that point in time.
And then we can get an idea of what the cost factor is and how you manage control. I just don't think it's just a matter of buying a time clock and being in front of the door and punching the card.
And the only place that we could do it possibly on our own would be here in the town hall, our non-union employees.
Yeah, but I think there's more discussion left on that. There's another item that we're talking about, department head status. I'm asking the board to find out who is using department head status in the town, various departments, and are taking a benefit that I think has been overused. That benefit is the extra hour for full-time department heads. And I think we need to research is who's using it, who authorized them.
Extra hour or?
You know, it's very vague, but when it was passed for full-time departments. And full-time departments back when it was passed in '93, and it was only required.
You said full extra hour. Do you mean
They get extra a week's vacation.
an extra vacation week? Right. You said hour, so I just wanted to clarify that we weren't talking.
And don't know how many there are out there, but I don't know if it's being used correctly. I think it's a benefit that was not for departments that have no personnel or stuff like that. It was established to have full-time departments that had multiple personnel and had a lot of job responsibility. And I think it's hasn't been used correctly, in my terms. And if it needs to be addressed, we need to address and change the modification on the job description of the department head to be eligible for those benefits.
That would almost require a flow chart of each department to see who's.
Exactly. So does the PQB have a
No, we don't have
job
it.
description for each department?
Well, when this was passed, I mean, we had, we didn't have several departments that we have now. Areas that were just a one-man shop are there's 3 or 4 people in an hour, or 2 people, or they change their job description around. I just don't know who's taking that job description to that length and apply for the benefits, because it's expensive. Okay, and I don't know, you can ask Reggie to send a memo out or call every department head and find out who authorized it, or why do they feel they're eligible for it?
Do we have records already of
No.
vacation times taken by people
No.
under payroll?
Unfortunately, no.
Your board made it perfectly clear when the software was bought, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, that all departments, with the exception of the school, were to submit on a weekly basis back then, but now it's a bi-weekly basis. Vacation, vacation, sick time, and personal time used in the payroll period. And that was supposed to be tabulated and carried on their paycheck and verified by department heads to make sure it's accurate. I know I do it, I know certain other departments do it, or not all do it.
Most do, not
But the problem is defining what a department head is by having Reggie call those people claiming to be a department head.
But I mean,
How do you,
I mean,
Exactly.
if you're calling yourself a department head and we're calling you as a department head, and I agree with you, but
we need, if it's out there, we need to rectify it and resolve it.
I think it's
Otherwise, you're paying for
an extra week's vacation for people getting an extra week's vacation. Because that's the benefit. If you're a department head, you get an extra week's vacation.
And the description is vague. You know, it was vague because it was assumed back there that everybody knew what a department head was, I believe, and it was full-time personnel.
I think we got to take this somehow a step at a time, and first,
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we got to develop a schematic of the who's,
Let's find out who's doing it.
Yeah,
who we think is department heads.
correct. I agree with Michael, we need to map this out, who
I
we
agree
think
with you.
department is, and then verify against our presumption.
We need a base to find
Yeah,
out
basically.
who's taking this advantage. And
Or do we do this by proposing a new bylaw with a refined definition of who a department head is? And then anybody who...
That's one way to go, but wouldn't that be the product after we find out what's going on?
Well, I'm saying, instead of trying to map everybody out, there's a poor definition of who a department head is. Come up with a better definition, pass it at town meeting, and then if you don't fall into that category, you're not entitled to it anymore.
I think you're going to find out who's a sort of a department head to begin with, and see if the job description warrants that and merits that.
I mean,
I'm not pointing fingers, but, you know, when certain people were hired, they said, oh, you're a department head, but they were never clarified as a department head. Oh, you're entitled to this. And it was done willy-nilly. It never came through us, it never came through the Board of Selectmen. But when the evaluations were all done, it was pretty clear it was full-time personnel that had a full-time department that were department heads.
And I'm not...
I believe at the time it was only 4 or 5, and I think it was police and highway. Fire wasn't involved in that, but the treasurer collectors were full-time hours then. They were 40 hours a week.
So what we're I mean, the library is a part-time position, but is
And I think
that...
that might have fallen, that was a part-time position back then, but I think they might have even gotten it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a creeping situation.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you...
I think we need to find out who feels
claims-
entitled to that and look at it and get some kind of definition.
Do we send a memo out and ask who claims to be a department head?
Well, another way of verifying, and like I was saying to Ed and Robin, who received the extra week vacation time?
Can we
don't
tell
know.
them? We don't know.
We should
Right,
know.
and it's
every year,
unfortunate.
we talked about this in the past, we should have, at the beginning of July, a list from every department head saying, Johnny Smith has got 20 years of service, he's entitled to 5 weeks vacation. Other person might be entitled to 3. But what that year was budgeted for and what was his years of service is predicates how many weeks vacation he gets. Sick time is standard 40 hours a year for everybody. And personal time, I think it's varied between 32 and 15 or 18, depending on what department it is and what was negotiated.
But Robin, within your personnel payroll, we can't figure out who gets an extra week's vacation?
I can tell you how many hours they took.
But will that tell us if they're claiming to be a department head? Because if we compare how many years of service they allegedly have compared to
Yeah.
how many...
what they're entitled to.
what they're entitled to. If they're taking years of service plus one, then
Yeah, but what might be an easier way is to ask all department heads to submit, as of July 1, all the employees, what they're entitled to for vacation. We have to budget it.
right.
It's a line out of my budget of what makes up that, you know, that number. And I think it should be established, and case in point, I think it should be reported on a payroll basis, and it should be deducted. The employee knows he has this, and we know where these guys are. I don't think we're doing it very effectively. I think some are and some aren't. I think we need to pull it in and do it uniformly for everybody.
Robin does ask for that, though.
I know.
She does send out that memo every year. She always asks for all our times, but not everybody reports it. That's the problem.
Why should they ignore?
Well,
They
I
shouldn't be.
think this is why we're here. We're a little frustrated because some do and some don't. Some
Well,
are
I
not
mean,
giving it because they don't feel they're obligated. I think that anybody collecting a check in Southampton, if they're on benefits in Southampton, should be reporting those hours up front.
can I make a suggestion to Robin, then? The next time someone doesn't report it to you, you report it to us, and then it becomes a matter between them and us, and not you. But if someone's not reporting to you what you need for your reports, then we should know about it, and they should come in here and explain why they're not doing it.
That would certainly seem like a good way to do it.
I mean, the buck stops here. I mean, it's up to us to, you don't have the authority, but
Right.
But, you know, here's another thing too, and it might have to go out on a signature of both parties, is that something is drafted to the Board of Selectmen and signed the policy procedures that as of such and such a date, we need this information. It will be an annual thing. We expect it before July 1. And we need an accounting of every vacation used in each time period to be accumulated and deducted from there and shown in the paycheck, because the software we have can do that.
I don't have a problem with that. I would move that we send out a joint letter requesting that.
Second.
Can your secretary, administrator do that?
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to send out a joint letter requesting a compilation of vacation hours, is that fair to say? Or
I would say.
reporting?
I have one other thing.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
The other thing too is it's coming up the last couple of policy procedures meetings when we signed PCF. I think it's a budget buster, and I think it's hurt us in the past if people are not paying attention to it. We have a policy, and it's a state law, it says anybody who gets 20 hours is entitled to full benefits. So if we have an employee who is working 15 hours, he's not entitled to full benefits under the law. If an employee takes a job in another department for 6 hours, it looks like on paper when you do a PCF that he's only asking for 6 hours. But if he chooses to go on family plan, because he's entitled to it, and he's entitled to it by law, after 20 hours, they're entitled to full benefits for our insurance. It's not only that 5 or 6 extra hours we're paying to do that, it's the $6,000 or $7,000 for the benefits right up front. And I know our health line does not cover for any extra vacancies and new positions. And I've seen it in the past, it's a budget buster, and it hurts all the departments when we have to come up with money at shortfalls. And I think that I'm just asking for some guidance from the Board of Selectmen so we can start developing some kind of an idea how to handle this without, costing a lot of money. Do you combine positions and make them full-time? I mean, I don't have a clue, but, when we were looking for $30,000 or $40,000 to make budgets work, we find out at the end of the year we got to come up with another 20 because we're short in health care because we hired 4 people and they went on full benefits, and we never took that into consideration. So I don't have an idea how you want to handle this, but I think two groups of heads are better than one.
Well, actually, the third group is in the back, Finance Committee. And
They
they,
can weigh in on any stuff we're talking about, but this is, and Derek is on the policy procedures, he's been here, we scratch our head on some of these costs that it looks like it's only 4 or 5 hours, but 3 or 4 years down, 3 or 4 months down the road, they're applying for full benefits, which they're entitled to,
Right.
you know? Because they're working more than 20 hours for the town of Southampton, doesn't have to be for one department.
Somebody should be making a decision. If it's two 19-hour jobs, can we combine them into one 20-hour, 40-hour job, so we only pay one set of benefits, as opposed to making two 21-hour jobs?
Look at things when we hire people, is this going to trigger another event that's going to really cost us some money that we're not anticipating?
Right.
And I just think that it's gone on a lot, and we're not aware of it, and we've been playing catch-up with this for years.
We definitely need to pay more attention to the part-time hires, I guess, because they have unintended consequences.
And we talked about that, and even if they said they want to waive it, we
Yeah.
talked to the AG's office about this. If they even send a paper to waive it, they can only waive it to the next enrollment period, right? Which would be the fall of July. They're still entitled to the benefits.
We have a hand in the back, Tommy?
Just a suggestion to change the PC form and put on there, is this person already working for the town? And if that itself, and if so, how many hours, that would help you right away to at least screen it. And okay, if this person's only working 4, and then they're asking for another 4 versus if it's going to put them over 20. So just, I think, change the form right away and have them help you. And it might make also the department heads and people who are other boards aware of that. Oh, we have a part-time employee, we want to employ them, but they're also working elsewhere. So maybe it would make everyone else aware that they can't do that if it's going to push you over into insurance.
That's a good idea, and maybe
That is
require,
on our agenda for the next meeting.
and require the signature of the existing department head on that PCF too, because it could be their unintended consequences.
Well, I think it's part of their job description to know that it's not coming out of your budget, it's coming out of the treasury.
Right, but it gets made up somewhere.
Usually, it's the school department that we have a part-time employee that we're unaware of that would allow them to not have insurance.
Is that where the biggest,
We've had a problem, and I don't get.
They probably have the large-
I don't handle them.
they probably have the largest number of part-time employees. So we need
So we
to,
can compare that because the treasurer has a list of the amounts paid out for insurance, the town's share of the policy, so we can compare that with the personnel list to see.
but I think Robin's pointing out that the school department has, the largest group of part-time employees, and we frankly don't want any of those employees
We
go.
don't handle their PCF.
But you handle the health insurance.
Right, but we don't want them going from 19 hours to 21 hours on those part-time employees.
So that's how we could at least find out to the extent there are some going on right now.
So they could do the same thing. They could hire someone, and they could be part-time for the town.
The entity is the town of Southampton.
Right.
Whoever they employ, doesn't matter what department it is.
Well, I'm thinking, even we've talked about taking the part-time custodian from the library and bringing him here, which we would create the same set of circumstances here. And what about the people who work in other departments and also go to the fire department on call? Then they're getting their hours.
I think that's something else that might be a problem in the future too.
Mr. Google?
Mr. Banner actually raised an interesting point that I hadn't thought about. How many of the on-call firefighters putting in more than 20 hours a week and getting benefits?
We have to report in consistently
None.
over 20 hours.
You have to work every week, 20 hours.
Isn't there one or two that do that though? They're the ones who do that. Just a question.
I think there's a lot of things here that we're looking at that could be unintended consequences of somebody's actions. So the question, I think, since the school department is outside the realm of what we can supervise, do we need to put something to them, telling them that we don't want, that they need to be careful on their part-time hires and increasing their hours?
Or some type of communication. We hired someone for whatever, hours.
I mean, I'm not trying to discourage people from being hired.
No.
What I'm trying to be is saying that if we're going to hire somebody, we're going to do benefits, well, why don't we hire them, make it a full-time position?
Right, we don't wanna
with
pay-
benefits and combine 2 small positions into one or
Right.
something like that. be more frugal with and more realistic on using those numbers.
Right, instead of paying 3 part-time benefits, or 3 full benefits for 3 part-time people, let's combine the jobs and have 1 or 2, or instead of 3, or whatever number it might be.
And I don't even know if it's that big of an issue, but it came up recently where we've done that issue. And, but I knew we have a lot of part-time hires. If they're hired by another department, it's going to trigger this and they become eligible.
I guess our question becomes, Robin brings up a good point with the school department. What do we do with them?
Can we even make a list of people who work for both departments?
Well, I think we understand that our policy is that we don't want part-time hires that come onto benefit schedules.
You know, the other thing too is Mike, is maybe we could ask the treasurer's office to communicate with the school, find out how many part-times they have, part-time people they currently have that are getting benefits.
Right.
Or potentially, we need to start talking to the school and saying you need to hire full-time people to get these benefits, rather than having 3 or 4 part-time jobs with full-time benefits.
Right, exactly.
And it's not just the school, it could be any department.
Right. Well, I mean, they're the largest employer, I would assume. So how do we do that? Robin take care of it?
Well, let's start with communication somewhere.
Communicating with Cindy up there?
Can we write a joint letter similar to what we just voted on?
Or maybe even have Cindy and Bill come in, and the superintendent come in, and we have a discussion, you know, maybe a working discussion with other department heads about this, that we need to pay attention to that. Because, you know, it's going to cost us money we don't have.
Your hand up, Dave?
Yes, I mean, there has to be somebody who actually signs up the employees to their benefits. And I'm not exactly, I don't remember who that person is, but somebody has to sign off that, yes, this person is entitled to the benefits. I think that's the focal person. I think before you give benefits to an individual, maybe the select board should review that before giving out those benefits, and have a review process of the system so that it redirects to this board so they can have a better handle on actually who's getting it. Because right now, you don't know who's getting it. I forget who that person is. I'm not sure who that is.
Who handles the benefits?
Yeah, who signs up for the benefits?
I do.
So there's your point person to actually track who's actually getting the benefits or signing up.
Have they been approved, though, and hired by the time that you see them for benefits?
Yes.
So,
At least you could track backwards. At least
Yeah.
where-
Right.
okay.
I wouldn't want to have a process of having you approve the benefits, because it's a process, the paperwork, I have to send it out to Northampton, I have to do deductions, I don't want to make people have to pay more than they
But they
bigger
should be able to verify
deductions
the
than they
hours.
should to make up
They should-
for it.
Well, the board should be able to verify that they're paying the hours.
Perhaps we should have
That's the benefit.
We should have a meeting. I don't know how else to do this. Well, do we get the school here on the department head meeting?
We have.
Then-
Ask them to here.
Well, then let's schedule, let's do it.
Or we could, I mean, I have no problem, policy procedures, or even selecting, going to one of the school committee meetings and talk to them
Well, that's-
also. That's another avenue. You know, I mean, you don't have another board, all boards meeting, maybe we should have one of those in the future to go over just what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah.
That seems to make a lot of sense. We have a lot of personnel issues that need to be dealt with. And that seems to make sense.
So the other option would be to have an all boards meeting, or you and someone from here go to.
I can, well, we have to do
Yeah,
both.
do that too, but you do both even.
I
yeah.
mean,
I think that's the best idea.
if we can educate and communicate, you know, what our concerns are, it might be a lot easier to implement.
When did we have our last all boards meeting?
That's the time I was away, September.
In September? I don't think many people showed up. I think Ed showed up.
No, I think myself, Steve, I and Chief was there.
So we have the grand opening coming up November 1st, so we could do it 2 weeks after that, November the.
Why wouldn't we have, I mean, I don't want to pack the meeting, but why not have all the boards here? If they're having an open house, they should come in and,
True enough, they're going to be here anyway. It's a short turn to come in this room. You want to make a motion to?
make a motion, request all boards on November 1st. Do we have a ton on that night? No?
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye. What time are we going to have them here?
So we're, 6 to 8 is the open house, so,
Do we have anything scheduled for 7?
I don't think so,
Get them in and get them out?
yeah, get them in, get them out, sure. All right. Anything else?
Do those letters go out beforehand so we can,
Yeah.
they can have them aware of what we're talking about?
Absolutely. Anything
That's
else?
it on our end, I believe.
Okay,
Do you have
thank
anything
you.
else?
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, now we're moving back then up the line to the joint meeting with the Council on Aging regarding the furniture and the funding. Are you here for aging or library?
I'm here for library trustee.
Okay. The letter of interest for the library trustee. So we talked earlier about that too.
We haven't filled one of those in a while, but normally requires a joint meeting between the trustees and ourselves to,
Well, wait, the trustees met last night and voted unanimously to support this person.
and that's fine, but I think the process requires a joint meeting in the same,
But I understand that all the committees don't have to follow that process, so that's why we did it this way, because
all committees may not follow that process, but all committees are supposed to follow that process.
okay. We
So-
did it the last 2 times.
Unless you're exempt from the rule, I don't know.
No,
Mike, just for, if they had an open meeting and voted, so,
Technically, it's supposed to be a joint meeting because it's a majority of both committees, not,
because I thought some of them were not, some were.
there are
We've
certain,
been very inconsistent.
No, it's just, it's some of them say.
because if there's how many members on their committee? 7?
Good.
Not trustee?
We have 10.
Or 10?
Yeah.
And then, so that makes with us, 15 becomes the electing committee, which then requires a vote of 8 at any one time. It's a joint meeting is different than, is Eileen gone? She should,
She just left, I can grab
she
her.
ask her. We've always had a joint meeting. There's a different strategy to a joint meeting. Than a single meeting. That requires a meeting.
Hi. Thanks for coming in again, Eileen. The particular question is with respect to the library, and call it an emergency or an appointment of a director, given the situation that they have. Are you aware of the process? Does that require a joint meeting of the
A joint
library?
meeting with the selectmen and the library, you're all elected.
Okay.
It's under chapter 40, I think, section 11 maybe.
But it requires a joint meeting.
Yeah, a
It can't be-
joint roll call.
It can't be in two independent meetings.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So will you put us on the agenda for November 1st?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
We have, so we need to bring how many from?
You need to bring a quorum
6,
From our board.
from your board.
6.
Okay, so we need to bring 6. Okay, so we'll just have to.
Thank you.
Be here.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay, sorry for the interruption there with the Council on Aging, but... So, you're on, Nilda. What would you like to do? You
I'm
wanna-
Linda Owen, and I have 2 fellow board members. we're here to address the present problem, the add-on problem that we have with the moving of us eventually to that space. So, the findings that have developed is that last Tuesday, Jennifer and I spoke after the furniture was treated, moved into the space. There was a very unpleasant odor, and she felt that the furniture had not been properly cleaned. And so aside from the fact that she felt that there was mold, it wasn't cleaned properly. Ed was on vacation. We were not aware of what the agreement was with the cleaning company. We had our assistant executive director out ill with an upper respiratory infection. So I told Jennifer, Nancy shouldn't come in because if there's anything that the air would contribute further to that. I decided, she talked to Joe Slattery, and he didn't have any real solution to how to deal with it for the week because here was Tuesday. I called, Reggie got the name of the cleaning company. I spoke to the president or one of their managers, and he offered to come in Wednesday to evaluate what, the air in there, the condition of the furniture, which he did. Reggie, Nancy, and Jennifer met with him. And his feeling was that the chairs, which are the chairs that you see before you, do have mold. They were treated. He didn't think that a second treatment would really address the problem. And so we were in the room on Thursday for 2 hours meeting. We called a special meeting to deal with this. And there was some reaction to whatever was in the air, whether it was cleaning, mixture of solution, or still sort of lingering in the air. So I think Mr. Dodd said to Jennifer, responded to Jennifer's email and said get some quotes in terms of replacing. We did that. We have copies. Reggie has a copy, and I asked her if she could make copies for you so that you can look at it and really feel that we need to address this sooner rather than later, because aside from the kitchen situation, which is separate, we need to, we're looking forward to starting some activity. In fact, Jennifer and Nancy have spoken to Betty Schaefer about she was going to get a grant to do some art project, and so that we're moving ahead in terms of sort of stimulating participation and having some structure. Even though the website says that we're still having wine dancing and Tai Chi, that's been gone for a while. So, so that's what we're here for you to take immediate action.
Who did the cleaning?
I did the cleaning.
You did, but I mean, Abide did the...
Abide worked for me. They came in, there was a lot of mold in the trailer, mostly wood and cardboard boxes. The process was to contain the site, and so it was done with a abatement type of thing. Everything was sealed off. There was no established. The trailer was sealed off. Anything that came out of there that I said was good, they vacuumed the loose spores out, and they treated with a foam agent, an anti-mold agent, and they were set off to the side. We did that with everything in there, with the exception of glasses and dishes. We didn't do that. We just took them out of all their cardboard boxes, because the cardboard boxes on the wall had to be destroyed. Now, these chairs were treated with a foam dry anti-mold material to kill mold. Okay. Problem is we put them back in the building Friday. They were still wet. They never dried out. They're still damp now. I wasn't here, I took off for vacation, I just assumed people would wear it outside. They didn't. Okay? I just assumed that. I think that these chairs should go outside on a couple of good sunny days, come back and test them for mold. And if they're found to have mold, we retrieve them, dry it out again. I don't think the council even wants to use them again, but I don't think we should throw them away.
No. Abide usually gives you a guarantee with their
Yes,
stuff.
they do. And I have that. And I think they'll come back and
They'll contribute
work
back.
with me. They'll work with me to do that. We might have a few chairs, I might say, hey, if it tested positive twice, we're throwing it away.
Right.
But we don't have to throw the whole rack away.
No.
Somewhere else we can use it. Now, I know the council should spend money on these, and they used them in the basement. They did what, 48 of them?
52.
52. Are we replacing 52 or 72?
72.
Well, there's 20 of the vinyl. The vinyl,
You have vinyls in there now.
Well, those weren't ours.
They're still pretty nice looking vinyls.
Yeah,
Oh, are those ours that came out of here? What were here?
No, those vinyl chairs, if I'm not mistaken, were from the North School.
Oh.
Okay, when they did renovations, and they were stored upstairs in the attic. Maybe that's where they came from. Well, I think they're pretty good chairs, but it's your call. If you're gonna replace them all to be the same, that's your prerogative, not mine.
what Jennifer's assessment, and, you know, maybe Reggie can add to this, because she was there with the representative from Abide, that there's plywood in between this is the vinyl chairs. There's plywood, so there's vinyl and plywood, and then there's like a cardboard backing, and that was wet. So they washed it down, they must have treated it for mold.
They washed them
And
with
she-
pressure lines, and, you know, it's all been treated.
And she felt that those two were compromised, those chairs were compromised.
Well, you know, at this,
Jennifer. And I don't know, did she address that individually with you?
No, he didn't
That was
say.
an assumption I think she made.
The only thing that the gentleman said was these chairs, he cannot guarantee that all the mold is out because it's fabric. It's very porous, is what he said.
but Abide usually gives you a guarantee that you're going to be satisfied.
He was willing to wash those chairs again, but he cannot guarantee it because it's different taking a curtain and throwing it into the washing
And
machine.
that's what I'm saying, if we test it after he cleans it again,
Then let's,
and we eliminate 50% of the problem,
We're still 50% ahead.
That's good, I mean.
I would suggest that we follow that course of
I think they need
action.
time in the sunlight, and they need to be out in fresh air for 3 or 4 long days, to have them come and tested, and that. They're not going back in there, I don't think the ladies want them back in there, and I can understand that, because you're never gonna get that out there.
But if we can dissipate it enough, they're better than the chairs that we had here.
They look great here, and I'll tell you what, Mike, I think they're attributing to some of the sound that.
Sound that I can hear not tonight that I couldn't hear for months on end.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, between the panels, which I have to congratulate getting up, and
Yeah.
our seal and everything else.
Ed did that.
Thank you.
But you did it, which you-
But, I mean, the issue becomes with the senior center furniture, is we don't have any control over the money. They'd have to go to Finance Committee for that money, because it's not budgeted.
I think Reggie has a solution, or an idea, let her talk about.
Possibly. It depends on what you have left in that furniture account. I know a portion of that money, I believe, were you thinking of using that for the kitchen appliances to get installed, that separate hand washing sink. I don't know what your thoughts were to get the hot water over into that building, but we don't know what you have left in that furniture
Should
account.
be contractor's problem.
Yeah, that's not our problem. There's no hot water over there?
No.
I think what they did, they reversed the lines, is that what Tony,
I'm sorry?
is that what the plumbing inspector said, that he thinks the lines were reversed?
There's so many things.
Isn't that's not on anybody's punch list, though, is it?
It was.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, we'll talk.
You guys are meeting tomorrow or something, aren't you?
That's with the doors.
With the door guy, but is it?
But this is under warranty, I mean, the guy's gotta have warranty. I mean, I don't wanna change the subject, but there's a few other things I'll bring to your attention.
Yeah,
So we have the issue then, we don't know how much money is left.
correct. We're waiting for that.
We do have a quote here, the lowest quote for these acceptable items. 72 is the minimum number, is that fair to say, in
That's what
replacement?
that's what she put together.
Why did we pick
I think
72?
I think she took the position that we should have replaced what we had. That's the basis of her.
Were we using all that we had, though?
Well,
When we did the lunches,
All right, time out.
that was 8 tables,
Times 6.
yeah.
Okay. But I think this, rather than, I mean, I understand we're ready, but that furniture account is getting used up quickly. We don't have any, I think this is an item that should go to Finance Committee to see if they can finance it from the reserves.
That's exactly
Well,
what
I
we're
know.
waiting for too.
That's our
We're
next
waiting for the
step.
same thing, yeah.
But I mean, this is an item,
stuff left and right, but we just don't know where we stand.
but I don't want to spend this money and not know where we stand,
Oh, absolutely.
because
It
this
may not
money,
even be there.
this money may not be there, and it may be needed for hand washing sinks, or whatever.
well, that was the other thing in part sheet. Ed mentioned the dishes, that they even brought in some of the Christmas decoration, which she got rid of right away because that made no sense to bring it into the building. But-
No, she told me to bring them in. She wanted the Christmas decorations. She told me to throw away the teddy bears.
Oh,
Okay?
That's a tip.
all right, so now the dishes, she couldn't clean, because there's no water in the kitchen, and there's limited water, you know, proper water temperature
Right.
in the bathroom. So I told her, put gloves on and, you know, whatever you touch, do it with gloves. It's not.
Rod's going to get me because I'm going to be in the senior center soon enough by myself.
No, I'm going to
There's a box of glasses, and there's
No, the dishes.
2 bags of the dishes.
I'll get all those dishes cleaned
I
commercially.
say a bike should do that.
Yeah, I'll get them done commercially, just put them
Well, we
aside.
don't know when to use them. I mean,
I
I
have
just
a
think they
question
have
on
to
the
be.
tables. Are they putting some new tables?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they should be looked at.
Looked at
As being usable.
the tables that are, yeah, because
They're
they're,
not cloth,
they're
they,
wood.
Are vinyl, the top is something like that.
Non-porous.
Folding tables, what got back to me was that there were, all the wheels and castings were rusted, and I went down and looked at them. There's some rust in one top nut. I didn't see too much rust anywhere else. But that needs to, I think they're not made of cloth. I think they should be looked at when they be used. If they don't want to use them because they suspect there's something in there.
Can they be tested again?
Yeah, I think-
Or they've been,
Because, you know, we opened them all up, and they got, every bit of them were cleaned down and vacuumed down, and, not steam cleaned, but they were cleaned with the agent from top and bottom, and they were all wiped down.
Can I make a motion that we unfortunately turn this problem over to Ed to see if Abide can take care of some of the problems, and also direct the Council on Aging to the Finance Committee for any funding source that
But
they...
how much are just the chairs?
Okay, taking away the tables would reduce it by $1,761, getting the total lowest price down to $3,702. The chairs themselves are $2,400,
That's for 72.
72 chairs.
Is this a chair that can be added on later on? Like, start with 50 and get 12 and 12 later on? I'm just trying to think of a doable situation for these people.
They're pretty close to that 30, I guess, too, each.
They look to be the same style of chair that's here.
These are pretty standard chairs.
Stackable, right.
They're a stacked chair.
Stack up to 12 plus 3.
So these chairs that would be saved here in this group would stay in here.
Right.
That's my suggestion.
There's 52 in these,
52?
52.
52. You mean 52?
What chairs did we have before? We just...
Metal folding
Yeah,
Folding?
tables
metal chairs.
Those are uncomfortable.
Metal
and
stuff.
cold.
But they don't help your insulation.
No.
So the fact that we seem to be providing a benefit to the select board with their acoustical problem,
Yes, you are.
I think that it would be by way of China. But we still have, we would like for you as a board to act on giving us your approval to buy some of the things that we need and not send us to the finance committee to chase down money when You know, this is another occasion where we're being
But we can't give you the money.
pushed about.
We don't have the money to give you. You gotta get it from finance.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I didn't look at this option, but can I check with the insurance company?
We already did.
Yeah, I would think, I would encourage you to, but if
We
you
did, and
did,
unfortunately,
Mold and-
it was never, right, it's not
mold and
included,
mildew
and it
was
was
not
never
covered.
reported when you stored it on the trailer. The trailer being on the property was never reported to the insurance company.
but they wouldn't cover mold and mildew anyway, but.
Well, we certainly understand the situation. We would have to go to finance to look similarly because we don't have the money under our control at this point, even to say, yes, go ahead and make the purchase. That's where we are, unless there's,
Can I ask the
But
board?
can't you
Do
provide-
you have any, under your expense items, okay? Do you have any ability to maybe purchase them out of your current expense items, get them their chairs so they can operate?
right, exactly.
And you guys go for replenishment?
Well,
For unseen-
Are you talking about that furniture account?
No,
Our
I'm talking about
expense
your
line,
expense
we won't
account.
know until we get a report.
We don't have, and we don't have that kind of money in our expense line anyway. And we don't even start the year off with that kind of money.
Well, we have had,
We also have an expense line for the old town hall, which hasn't been used.
You have an expense line for that?
Yep.
I haven't seen a printout in so long. I don't-
Yeah, I
I don't
can't
know.
tell you.
I'll go over I had a printout recently, and
How's it?
on what we spent, what the budget item for. And I'll be happy to go with Reggie and give us some possibilities to report back to you. But I think it's, we can get the chairs from, I think they can function.
Mhm.
Am I right? You need at least the chairs to get going. And I think those tables could be used, but I'll have them tested too when they come back and do these.
well, just looking also here,
The chair noise too.
We're talking about the chairs.
No,
to the
chair
dollies to move them around.
You have the old chair dollies right there, use them.
No, we have, I think we have those square.
Those are them.
Those are those.
Oh, we have the black ones.
You don't have to buy those, you already have them.
All right, so we're coming on down, so I just made a calculation here too, of 50 of the chairs would be $1,397, plus shipping, so it'd be around $1,450 for the 50 chairs. So,
50, they want 72.
A lot of the chairs, you have to order them substitute.
okay. So just, you said there were 52 though, right?
52 chairs.
But they 52 covered chairs, but then there's some vinyl chairs over there too that total up to 72.
Yeah, I don't know whether she counted those in there, but
I
I
don't
know
think
she
she
was.
I thought there was 20 of the vinyl and 52 of this, so that makes sense. The 72 she's coming up with.
They're looking for 72 chairs.
Okay, so if they're looking for 72, then obviously it goes up to $1,000.
I think you should just replace the cloth chairs for now, because you don't have that much money, but you might find enough money going through this account to at least get these cloth chairs replaced, with 40, 52 of them. And the next ones can maybe go out to the finance committee for some money for reserves.
So for our next step then, can we,
Can we just take money out of that account?
It's for the town hall. This is the town hall.
Oh, okay. That's right, town hall expense.
great, so specific next step would be then to look and see how much is in there.
Correct. We can't until David gives us, until
So we're-
David Kilson closes the
We're on hold until David.
You have to understand, ladies, we're having trouble closing out the books for the year end, so we don't know what money we have. We don't have an idea. We haven't
All
had,
right, so you're trying to determine what you have carry over from the previous fiscal year, right? Left over, so that you can...
no, we don't know, in this present fiscal year, we don't know what's left in this year. We don't know what we've spent so far this year.
Oh, well, you don't have a year-to-date figure.
We don't have year in and we don't have year to
We don't have
date.
year end or year to date, so we don't know what we've got, which is,
We had hoped to have it tonight, but there was a delay in getting the numbers to balance. The town accountant is working on it as we speak, but he wasn't able to get them in time. So that's really where we are, but I really appreciate your having done all this great homework and back work for this. So it sounds like, again, as a specific next step, as soon as we're able to look into the numbers to see what's available in the town hall budget, then we can,
And if the numbers are available, then what would you like me to do?
well, then why don't we do, if we have to order, we're talking 50, because there's still 20.
I'm going to, just to reiterate, I'm going to talk to a buy, come out and test these chairs, clean them, check the table, test the tables, and we clean them and verify what's good there. I'm going to still exercise an option with the insurance company,
Yeah.
okay?
When we buy the chairs, let's buy the same color. So if we buy 50 of the red ones,
No. Put the best of 4 in there.
You want them blue?
Well, it was gonna be, hey, this is a brand new building, a brand new room for the Council on Aging.
but then if you buy the same color, if you run into an event where you
give us something.
need more chairs, you've got the same color.
But Mike, they won't get their chair back if they're all the same color.
I'm just thinking of Milton, why the school is green.
No, teal.
Teal. I'm just thinking why everybody should know it's Milton Small that the school is teal.
Black.
Did I say anything about color? I cannot come in here with color, Tracy.
I have a question.
But it's going out over the airways. The reason the Norris School is teal is Nilda Collins sitting right there.
Teal and mauve.
I remember many nights discussing colors up there.
30 bucks worth.
May I just say something? I think, so if you're going, I would like to hear from the board. Take a position and say, this is what we're supporting. So you're supporting getting 50 chairs. You're supporting getting the portable partition foldings. We need that because for the foot clinic, we need to corner, what's the word, curtain off, so that for privacy.
Cordon, right.
Because there are other things.
We have no privacy in it. It's one
Right,
big
well,
room,
that's
it's
one
beautiful,
question.
but there's no
You know
privacy
that-
areas.
That was from.
There are 4 portable walls downstairs that nobody's using.
Oh, yeah.
They're purple. Or black, I don't know, they're brand new, nobody's
Do
using
they
them.
have wheels on them? Because this is, they can be configured so that they can
Is
be,
that it for curtains, for like?
what Jennifer said was that,
For the foot clinic,
Right.
they sit in a couple chairs with a light, and they put this around it.
I think at this point in time, if we tackle the chairs, we're doing well. And we'll have to get up there.
I know the curtains you're talking about, though, because we use them on several
Partition would be
clinics
21.
when they, for shots, and those are the ones you want. Those are like,
It's got to be something in the water over there.
and,
So
I know they're around.
which truck?
Well, bring them up and show them to.
I think we have
entitled to
some
everything.
Josh's area,
Look at
which
that.
should be used by
Now we're
everybody.
in blue chairs because.
So we'll check with Board of Health, they have some for that event, which it should be used by people.
I think at this point in time, with budget being where they are, we get the 50 chairs and do well.
No, I think we found the curtain.
Huh?
but wait, we're.
Wait a minute, what?
I think we found the curtain.
That's what I'm saying, you use the
Board
one.
of Health has them for emergencies.
Yeah, but we want our own. We
Huh?
can't be borrowing, wheeling down the hallway with these screens.
Well, they're in full storage over there. Why don't they be used over here?
No, that we can't get crazy with your own screens. That's something that the Board of Health is using once every year, and you guys are going to use them down there. And you're going to use them every week. They can come get them when they need them. You'll keep them there, and we'll do, are they ours or are they Board of Health?
I think the Board of Health, but the Board of Health is telling us Southampton. Why can't we?
That's crazy. We're not duplicating. It's like the waxing machine. We're going up to the school to get the waxing machine to use here, even though they wanted their own waxing machine here. We're not going to buy 2 machines that are going to sit idle 99% of the time and go like that. If we've got screens either downstairs or Board of Health is using, let's go. I'll vote to do 50 chairs. I'll move that we purchase 50 chairs for the Council on Aging.
Second.
Those in favor, motion been made, seconded to purchase 50 chairs under the assumption that
And that
there's...
we have money.
In favor?
We'll wait for the numbers and go to finance.
No, we won't have to do it that way.
No, we're going to try and finance them out of
The
town hall expense account, if we have the money when we find out. But if the money's there, you can have the chairs. If the money's not there,
We'll all have to go to finance. We
We'll
will.
have to have a joint meeting.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks so much. One other quick item for the board while we have it here, not you all, but a late letter still within the time frame of October 18th, which is today. Another person who is April West, who would like to be considered for the Greenway committee.
I suggest we table that until her application is in on time. Why do we have to take action on it tonight and leave one space open? Just, we got to do nominations for that committee again later on. I would make a suggestion, we table that until we take up Doric Dodds,
Oh,
since we have to do it anyway. And then in case somebody else's letter is floating around out there.
I second.
I can see where the vote's going, so those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So we just got to take up Doric and April.
Well, the motion's been made and tabled, okay. Motion's been made, seconded to table this, okay.
We'll do them at the same time. Go.
Okay. Good job. Right now, open time for the public.
Last time I was here, about a month ago, I said we weren't going to apply for anyone, but since then, I was encouraged. Some of the stuff I thought was ineligible is now eligible, and so we're going to apply. Some of the stuff the police department did is eligible, we'll apply. Some of the things in the fire department will be eligible.
Just sign it? We have to vote on it?
There'll be some additional rates.
We got to sign something here.
Excuse
me.
thank you. Yeah.
Can we please thank Ed for all the work he did here?
Absolutely. We've done that a couple of times informally. He keeps trying to say that Reggie did it, but I know better. That Ed and his crew,
My crew did it.
Made a big difference.
it really did. It's wonderful.
Great job, they look good.
Chairs helped out too, because they're absorbing.
I'm sorry, I don't smell anything.
I smell a little bit.
Can't use
They need to
it.
go outside.
Sign. They need to be, are we smelling the chemical smell, or are we smelling?
It could be combination, okay? I can't, I'm not an expert in that area, all I know is,
And when they ordered, I shouldn't say that.
no.
Thank you.
Okay. Derek, we're doing our best, obviously, to get our numbers. We all need those numbers. I've been in several conversations today with Dave Peelson, not taking away his time, but we're working on them with all due haste. We all need the numbers. We all recognize, I think, how important, I know how important it is.
It's really come to the point where it's going to shut us down.
Right, I understand. So we're,
Making informed decisions, and we kind of anticipated this 6 weeks ago when we first came to you guys. That, we're not helping anybody out, but we're trying to, people are asking, they've gone over their budget. Dave Carson's already gone over his budget supposedly, but we can't verify it.
Right.
We gotta,
So we've called a special meeting for next week, for next Tuesday, specifically for this, joined with finance, to go over the numbers. And I'll be in daily touch with Dave Keelson. I've offered to bring in if there's anybody else who could come in and help. However, the learning curve time will be so much that it probably wouldn't help. So he's been working on this extra hours.
well, I mean, and I know Dave is very meticulous and wants all the I's dotted and T's crossed. If he can get through 90% of them, 90% of the accounts, and have them feel comfortable with them, just tell us, such and such department, I couldn't get to it. But at least we can work with something and move forward.
Okay. We have the DOR side of it too, of course, what he can take to them. And I had already authorized him to carry forward $2,000, which was extra in the CPC, Conservation. CPC, I'll get it right yet, if I say enough letters. And so that was actually a carryover from last year's carryover, which was $1,900. Now that's gone up for some reason. But that he could take to DOR under a letter from us. But we'll see what we can do, obviously, in the meantime, to get the numbers. So we are working on it.
I know it's a difficult situation, difficult time, and we're just trying to move to the future, and we're coming up on the budget season again. And we're planning on putting some new changes into effect to hopefully standardize some of the budget process so that it makes it easier for everybody involved.
Right. Okay, anything else from the public? Do you want to move to adjourn, or do you want to?
So moved. I'll give you a second chance.
Do you want to second that?
Second.
In favor? Aye.